Our regular meeting will start at 7 o'clock. We will begin our public hearing in just a second. I would like to say we have two issues here on our public hearing and 15 minutes to conduct that. So if you would please, if you would like, maybe have a spokesman for your group to speak, it would cut down on some of the time. So at this time, we will call to order a public hearing of the City Council of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, to be held on Monday, May 16th, 2022 at 6:45 p.m. in the City Council chambers at 301 South 5th Street. Roll call, Clerk Young.
Councilwoman Parson.
Here.
Councilwoman Fox.
Here.
Councilwoman Horton.
Here.
Councilman Smith. Councilwoman Taylor. Mayor Pro Tem Cornman.
Here.
Mayor Davis.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Item A, the City of Poplar Bluff will hold a public hearing to consider public input on the annexation of property located in and around McLane Park Complex. The property owner is Poplar Bluff Parks and Recreation. Our city manager, Mr. Winters, will present this item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is some property the Parks Department owns that is part of and adjacent to McLane Park, the ball fields, and some parcels surrounding the ball field.
You're not.
Is that better?
There you go.
There we go. So this is an annexation of some property that the Parks Department owns that is in McLane Park and then adjacent and surrounding McLane Park, the baseball, softball fields at McLane Park, and there's a parcel behind it and a parcel that is in the Lake Loch Loma subdivision. These were properties that the Parks Department have owned for quite a while that never were annexed. So that's what we are hearing tonight. Lanny, do you have anything you want to add or not, or no?
Okay, if there's any questions or any comments and someone would like to speak from the public regarding this, please come forward. If you would, sir, state your name and address, please.
My name is, excuse me. My name is Jack Maxwell. My address is 559 Radcliffe Lane, which is in Loch Loma. I guess I'm the spokesman for the Homeowners Association. I didn't intend to be. I'm speaking from a personal standpoint because the lot that they have bought and proposed to annex into the city is right next to me. Lot number 37, I'm lot 39 in block 2. And then, of course, the 40 acres between the park and Loch Loma is all across the back of mine. So I'm on two sides. I'm affected by the annexation. I don't have a problem with you annexing the 40 acres and making that a part of the park. I have a big problem with the one lot out of a whole subdivision of 103 lots being annexed. I don't think there's any other situation like that in the city of Poplar Bluff. There may be, but I don't think there is. And the intent for the lot is in violation of our bylaws. When the lot was bought, it's my understanding, and I got it on good authority, that when the park department was looking to buy the lot, they were advised not to buy it because of some of these things. But I guess the board made a decision to go ahead and buy it. But the very first thing, and they should have been given this, the realtor should have told them that there were restrictions. And they should have gotten these restrictions. The very first one says, no site shall be used except for residential purposes. That is, dwellings or what may be properly termed as private resort cabins. I don't think the park department has any intention of building a residence on there. I've been assured that they only want it for maintenance access, but that's still not a residence. And I'm not going to just stand here and argue the point. I'm just trying to make my position known. I tried to buy 60 feet of the woods between me and that lot that would give me all the woods on both sides of my house. Lanny took it to the park board, and they decided not to for some reason. Someone on the board was concerned that whoever bought the property after me would maybe build a garage or a shop or something right there at the corner of the lot. And that got the wheels to turning and thinking, okay, if all you're going to really use it for is maintenance, what do you care? what difference does it make? My biggest concern is that somewhere down the road, and I am sure that if it happens, I think it will happen after I'm gone from this world, but my biggest concern is that one day that lot will become a parking lot for a trailhead. On the other side of the 40 acres, if I've read the survey right, there's somewhere like better than a quarter of a mile of frontage for access. I know part of it is a swamp, wetlands area that they couldn't use, but surely in all that area they can find enough access to get to that property. So my reason for being here tonight is to, and I don't know if the vote will be to annex each section separately or if it's all going to be one vote. My request is that you would consider removing Lot 37 of Block 2 in Loch Lomond from annexation. However, if you're going to vote on it as a separate piece, I would ask you to vote no for annexation. If you're going to vote on it as part of the big block, I would ask for someone to amend the proposal to remove that lot from the proposal. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to comment or provide some input on this, Mr. Corsamelia?
Just because so last a week ago Friday, let me get my days straight. A week ago Friday, I went to Lake Loch Lomond with can I say it? Councilman Cornman. We went there together to discuss this, and the bottom line of all of this factor is, and I understand, and I understand that Jack Maxwell came to us and tried to get a piece of this property. Just to make it clear, because whether it was handed to people in 2017 when we bought the piece of property or not, I have no idea. It doesn't change the property owner rights. And after the conversation a week ago Friday, that we're going to have some serious discussions on do we need the piece of property? Can we get in and out, without the piece of property, all of this good stuff. So we're going to work on a solution. I understand for me, facts are facts, and bottom line is everybody had a chance to buy this piece of property, including Jack Maxwell, but he didn't, and Parks and Rec did in 2017. So again, I understand their concerns, because I don't want to come up here and be mean or mean-spirited or whatever else. We're going to work on a solution, and even if that's us continuing to own the property and put up a bigger, badder gate or whatever they need there. So just to make 100% clear, I'm not opposing that we don't annex that piece of property. At this point, it's a moot point, because all we did was try to put all of our property that we have inside the city limits, and that was it. So again, we can say there's restrictions and all of that good stuff, but nobody else bought this piece of property except for Poplar Bluff Parks and Recreation. It's been there, and it's been there for quite some time too. So either way, we're going to work on a solution, and I promise you that we'll find a resolution hopefully for this piece of property, one way or the other. And I haven't had a chance to look at behind, around the parks and the different areas, but again, it wasn't that Parks and Recreation was just coming to be the big bullies on the block and interrupt Lake Loch Lomond subdivision. There's no reason for that.
Okay.
So,
thank you, Mr. Corsamelia.
I didn't buy it. Parks and Rec did, but I wasn't the director at the time.
He needs to come up to them. He needs to.
Lanny, come up to, if you have questions, come to the mic. We have one other issue, and we're starting our regular meeting at 7. So I think did you want to answer?
Well, the reason that I got that was passed down to me was because there would be an access to where if we had to do any kind of trail cleanup or anything like that, because the property is about used for a trail or something like that. It's sat there for 5 years. It hasn't done anything else. And until we had this discussion a week ago Friday, we had no discussion for the 2 years and 8 months that I've been as Director of Parks and Recreation until annexation came. So I'll have a meeting with anybody they know I talk way too long. I'll meet with anybody, and I'll talk all day long about what our solution is, because I get it. I mean, I understand the concern. So it doesn't, let's get to the problem before, I mean, I'm just annexing a piece of property that we bought 5 years ago, in 2017. That was it. Because we didn't have our ball fields in our parking lot annexed either. Correct? Correct. So,
Thank you.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you, Lanny.
Thank you, Manny.
If,
My name is Margaret Carter. I live at 178 Rembrandt Lane, and the property joins my property. I've lived there 52 years in peace, and I could see the biggest problem will be that I know there's already some drug dealing at the back of the park. There probably are on all the parks, but that's my biggest concern. And, you know, we're naive to think that drugs are better now. 40 years ago, the kids went back in the woods and there were marijuana plants. The next morning, we were going to call the police. Somebody came back and dug them all up. And so I think that if you do annex the property, you need to put that trail at the backside of where there's residential properties like mine. There's another Carter, and we have a road, but that road is a private road that goes down the hill. And I see, you know, that as being a real problem because they're going to come through all of our properties. And, you know, even right in that area, I owned a home down the hill and it got broke into 2 weeks ago. Kicked the door in, $1,400 expense. So, you know, the people that steal and do drugs are not just in the town. They're scattered out, and I see that as being a problem for the future of people that live. And if they're going to annex it anyway, I think they should put the trail at the backside, and they ought to put up a fence that would be out of barbed wire that they couldn't get through. That's how I feel about it.
Okay.
Or the other option, the smarter thing to do, as far as my thinking, would be that they sell the property, or at least a part of it, where it goes right by people's houses. So I think that's worth mentioning, and I think you all should at least listen to that.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Carter. If there's no further comment, do we have a motion regarding this item A on the,
I make an amended motion to move this item to the June 6th voting session as recommended, with the exception of the Lake Loch Loma lot, and it not be included in the request for annexation and the second.
do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, to clarify our vote, the decision of the council has been not to annex the property that is in Lake Loch Loma, the subdivision. So that property is not going forward to be annexed. It will not be voted on for annexation. So I hope that clarifies that and pleases. Okay? Thank you very much. Item B, the City of Poplar Bluff will hold a public hearing to consider public input on the annexation of property lying south of US Highway 67 and north of Poplar Bluff Municipal Golf Course. The property owner is Poplar Bluff Parks and Recreation, Mr. Winters.
Thank you, sir. So this is a parcel of property that the Parks Department recently purchased that is adjacent to the Ozark Ridge Municipal Golf Course, and also has some frontage on South Westwood Boulevard. Has a couple ponds on it, a really nice piece of property that we'll see some development on in future years. So, Lanny, do you have anything you want to add to this one?
I don't think anybody's opposed to it. I haven't heard anything, so that's all I got. And it's going to be exactly what Mr. Winters just described, which is 67 access and then we'll have it, but up to the city property, the city golf course, so.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do we have a motion regarding this item to move it forward?
I make a motion to move to the June 6th voting session.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. If there's no further business regarding these issues with this public hearing, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Meeting adjourned.